how did it not impact the functioning of the university when an academic building that belonged to the school could no longer be used by the school? Dozens of students and others took over, barricaded themselves inside Columbia's Hamilton Hall, leading to 112 arrests inside and outside the building. We have not been able to get a single one of the professors who signed this to join us. But Wajahat Ali is joining us. He's a columnist for the Daily Beast and the author of the book, Go Back to Where You Came From. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. All right, so
I'm not a professor, but I'll play one on TV for you.
Exactly. You will defend the professors. But let me ask. So you're coming at her sort of in defense of the professors. Your position is she should have just let the students take over the building and write it off as a tax deduction?
I actually agree with your original point that she, in her attempt to please everyone, she has pleased no one. And I think as president, the heavy-handed tactics that she helped unleash to break up these protests, whether you agree with the protesters or not, right? The use of riot police, for example, the fact that it seemed like a militarized presence on an academic institution, the fact that even the head of the riot police said, yeah, they were peaceful. They didn't really, they complied with us. That image and the fact that these faculty members saw that their students were attacked upon and that she, according to them, betrayed the safety and security of not just these students, you can agree with them or not, but this is the reason why the faculty, like you showed in the graphic, has given about 69%, 65% vote of no confidence. And also, I would say, like you mentioned, the right-wing lawmakers, they're not pleased with her at all. Elise Stefanik is still not pleased with her. Elise Stefanik, by the way, I want to mention one last thing, cares so much about Jews and cares so much about anti-Semitism that to this day, she has not condemned Donald Trump for dining with Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist, and she used her own money to promote the white supremacist anti-Semitic replacement theory to win over voters. It's all bad faith.
Right. All right. Look, let's put Stefanik aside, right? I want to talk about how I feel about this, right, and how you feel about it. You mentioned the militarized response. That's always the claim, right? Anytime police come into a situation, Donald Trump, the fact that he wasn't there at Mar-a-Lago, oh, my goodness, the fact that they had guns with them, that becomes, oh, you see that the police are always in riot gear. The reason they're coming in that way is because the protesters are, A, locking arms when they're being arrested and forcing the police to go hands-on. And number two, the fact that they are barricading themselves in a building. So when they come in, there is the real chance of danger, the same way it is in any other situation where police have to literally break into a building. So of course they're going to look militarized because the protesters have forced them into that position.
Compare and contrast. Was this the best judicious way of dealing with the protesters? Let's compare Columbia's response to Northwestern, to Brown.
Did they take over buildings in this way?
So they had encampments, and in this particular case with the takeover of Hamilton Hall, this is a tradition, whether you agree with it or not.
It's a tradition. It's just a fun time. It's just college. It's like getting a keg.
Okay, so check it out. 1985, they took over that building for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
3 weeks. They did not bring a militarized police response. Eventually, it was resolved. In 1968, when they did, they brought in the police. You remember what happened? Yeah. Hundreds of injuries, national news. To this day, it's seen as a disgrace in Colombia. So what this president should have done, in my opinion, instead of bringing out this militarized response immediately, bring in the riot police, deal with what the other chancellors is. Talk to these students.
Do
not bring in the police. Condemn them if you have to. But in every single place where we've seen the police show up, Emory University, we saw it in Dartmouth, we saw it in UCLA, we saw it in Columbia, we saw it in Washington St. Louis University. You saw it, Dan. What happened? Unnecessary violence. We saw
but the unnecessary violence is happening because of the protesters. If they want to just get arrested in peace, don't lock arms. Don't make the police go hands-on.
The locking arms, right, is done for solidarity, but they did not have weapons.
I don't care what it's done for.
But it's not violence. You're saying that locking arms justifies a militarized riot police response. I'm saying it doesn't.
I'm saying it forces police to go hands-on because they continue to try to prevent the police from arresting them. If you want to just do a peaceful arrest, you want to protest, you want to say, all right, I got it. You don't even have to help them, right? Let them carry you by your legs and your arms, fine. The problem for me is when you lock arms, when you barricade a building like that, you are forcing the police into a more dangerous situation where they can get hurt as well. You get the final word.
Okay, so my final word is this in response to your comment. Number one, The riot police, the head of the police said they were peaceful. Number two, why even bring it to the point where you have to bring in the police? There were better ways to do it. And what we have seen is in each instance where the police were brought, it made the situation worse. It emboldened the protesters. It led to violence against faculty, against students. It was a terrible look for the institution. And the president, I think, of Colombia has lost the confidence of not only her faculty and students, but also Republicans.
Yeah,
she lost.
Well, because she's stuck in the middle, because either she doesn't do enough or she does too much. But look, I think she had no choice. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.